Greetings everyone. Today we are making our final stop here on our tour of all the Six Flags in the United States in 1 year, and we're ending right back where we started for our announcement video here at Six Flags New England. Let's go in and explore this park. First and foremost, this entrance plaza is very reminiscent of Six Flags America, located in Maryland. This park here is located in Agawam, Massachusetts. If you don't know where that is, don't worry. I grew up in Massachusetts and also don't know where it is. But I'll put up that nice poor quality Google Maps graphic for you to show you where in the world we are. Wicked Cyclone is the park's RMC redo of the old wooden Cyclone coaster that was here. And despite not being quite as tall as some of the other RMCs, this still ranks among the top half by far, and it's my personal favorite coaster at the park. It's gonna be at least the top two coaster here for any guest, I think. If you don't think that, you're probably lying, but it's got loads of airtime, wacky inversions, wacky banking, everything you could possibly want in an RMC, and this thing doesn't miss a beat. It hauls Ute the whole entire ride, right up to the brakes at the end. Gotta ride this one. Don't be fooled by all the lockers. They make you think you need to put your stuff in. If you have like a backpack or something, you might want to use a locker here. But you also have pouches like this or areas at the platforms that you can leave your items. In most cases, at most Six Flags Park. Pandemonium is the park's Gerstlauer spin coaster. I always think these are a fun time. There's a couple drops here at the end of the ride that go underground a little bit. So when you think you're done, you're not quite done yet. This area here used to be home to an inverted boomerang called Goliath. It was also in another Six Flags park before it came to New England. Now it's home to some Adirondack chairs. Looks like good lounging. The area is closed. And right next door you got a similar ride. The Flashback over here is a boomerang in the non-inverted style that actually appears to be open. Let's get closer to make sure I'm right about that. Yeah, it turns out Flashback is open. I wasn't 100% sure it would be, since last time we were here back during the Fright Fest season, it was closed in October. But it's nice to see it's running. And you know what these do. They bring you back, drop you, send you forward through a course, and then they drop you backwards through the same course. And this one is just as rough as you'd expect. The New England Sky Screamer is not the world's tallest swing ride, despite what this sign says. It was when they built it years ago, but the Orlando Starflyer is definitely taller. Possibly a few others out there, but it takes you way up in the air, 400 feet in fact, very high on a spinning swing ride. Blizzard River is the park's whitewater river rapids ride, and it's your typical river rapids ride. You're gonna get wet and it's spinny and fun. Thunderbolt is the park's wooden roller coaster. This is the oldest wooden roller coaster in the Six Flags chain of parks, granting it this Ace Roller Coaster landmark. It is a coaster that shows its age a bit. It's definitely a little bit rickety, but not the roughest wooden coaster of them all. And this coaster originally opened in 1941, back when the park was Riverside Park. Scream is the park's S&S drop tower attraction. As you can see, it is the style that's going to launch you up the tower before letting you bounce up and down a few times. While it is a triple tower, they are only running one side today. I don't think I've ever seen a triple tower that runs all three sides. Additionally though, after that big launch and a couple of bounces, you will get taken to the top, held there for a moment, before plummeting back to the earth. That was before plummeting back to the earth if the rush of air overpowered me. Superman the Ride is a speed machine. The park's tallest roller coaster. It's an Intamin hyper coaster, just over 200 feet tall. It doesn't have the same layout as, say, Darien Lake and a couple of the other Six Flags parks had, or at least one of the. This one is a little different, especially once we get to the second half of the ride here, where there's a bunch of twists and turns, kind of spaghetti style, all diving into each other. And they really don't waste any added extra energy at the end of this ride, because like I said, those spaghetti turns and everything really weave into each other and let the energy die down before it hits the brake run. This coaster has won plenty of awards back in the day. It's definitely still a top tier attraction. Not my favorite coaster, my second favorite here though, and it's definitely a great ride worth hopping on. You can't miss it if you come here. I really like this tunnel element towards the end too. back out on the other side to a few bunny hills. Supergirl is the modern take on an Enterprise ride. It's a fun flat ride and it looks really cool. Cyborg Hyperdrive is a Chance Freestyle, which is the same attraction that we saw at Six Flags Great Escape, known as Pandemonium. It's similar to a Wipeout ride, except you face outward. This one's just indoors with lighting effects and music, so it's a little more exciting. The Gotham City Gauntlet is the park's Wild Mouse coaster. I'm not a big fan of these because I don't love the jerking left to right and the hills don't make up for it. But if you like Wild Mouse coasters, they've got this one. It's outdoors, unlike some of the other Gotham City rides. Catwoman's Whip is a nice family coaster with a long train, a 20-car train, 2-seaters each. So they can put 40 people on this train. So the lines usually move pretty decently, even considering it only has one train. It's not too intense, so it's definitely great for the whole family. It doesn't go more than maybe 25 to 30 feet up in the air, and it's mostly just some swooping drops with some helixes. Dino Off-Road Adventure is Six Flags' newest ride, and by newest I mean it's kind of just a reskin of their old Wild Wheels ride, which was kind of like an antique cars ride with Jeep-themed vehicles, and they just kind of rethemed them to Safari Jurassic themes with a little bit of music and a couple of dinosaur animatronics. So is it an upgrade? Maybe slightly, but nothing too wild and kind of a mediocre way to have a new attraction. Looney Tunes Movie Town is one of two kids areas at this Six Flags. The Great Chase family coaster is closed in this section. I like the theming on this frog hopper. Kidsopolis is the park's second kids area. This area here is allegedly closed for Fright Fest preparations, but it's really closed because the stuff up here is always broken. But it's unfortunate because back here we have a Houdini ride, which is a really cool indoor themed ride with some illusions, and the room kind of spins, and it's really hard to explain if you haven't been on one. So if you ever go to Six Flags that has one of these open, definitely hop on. I know there's one in Great Adventure in New Jersey as well. They also have this Frisbee attraction over here, the Tomahawk, which tends to be broken more than running. So both not open today. The Joker is the park's S&S free spin coaster. I'm a fan of these. People have mixed reviews about them, but I think they're fun. And then over to the left a little further, we have Harley Quinn Spin Sanity, which is a giant version of the Frisbee attraction. And it is not open today, so 0 for 2 with their Frisbee style attractions here. Now, Six Flags New England is my home Six Flags park. That being said, I've only been here 5 or 6 times total. It is a couple hours away, so it's not really my home amusement park. I haven't been on the Batman coaster in an even longer time. The Batman here is a B&M floorless roller coaster, and I kind of forgot what the experience was like on this one. But it's fun. It's not the most intense or exciting B&M floorless coaster, but it's still great when that floor drops out just before you dispatch, as well as just having your legs dangle as you go around the track here. Right off the start of the ride, there's this kind of quick swooping bank to the left. There is no Cobra roll on this floorless coaster. But it does feature interlocking corkscrews at the end, which are pretty synonymous with the B&M brand, especially the floorless coasters. So it's worth a hop on. And they also have a single rider's line that is clearly defined on this coaster and actually works. It's the first one I've seen at Six Flags that actually works seamlessly. Hurricane Harbor is the water park located in Six Flags New England. You enter towards the back of the park by the Batman coaster. It's not a very big water park, but they do have a few slides and attractions here. Woohoo! Is anyone else a little excited? Riddler Revenge is the first SLC coaster at a Six Flags park that's been open on our visits. So we have to take a ride. And if we don't come off with a concussion, we'll let you know how it went. Alright, so I do not have a concussion, so I'm able to tell you how the ride was. It was still incredibly rough and wild. You have no idea what's going on when you're on this ride. You're shaking everywhere, jerking all around, twisting and turning, and none of those things in the fun way. The First time I rode this and the only other time I rode this, it was called Mind Eraser, which is the perfect name for the ride because I still had my mind erased after riding this, or while riding this, probably about a quarter of the way through. That being said, I believe there were just regular over-the-shoulder restraints at the time, which made you bump your head around. Now there's vest restraints, so you don't bump your head around, you just bump your whole body around. I just don't know what they were doing when they built these coasters. It seems like every maneuver is too tight or banked wrong, and the ride's just not smooth. Even the brake run towards the end of the ride, you slam into those brakes like 5 times faster than you should, and that hurts too. Another clearly defined single rider line. Here I thought I didn't like Six Flags New England that much. There is a classic teacups ride here. It is the style that you can spin the little wheel in the middle to make your car spin, or your teacup spin. So that's always nice. Nestled up in the corner of the park here, off to the side, is Kontiki, which is a Matterhorn ride. It's not open today. I don't know if it's been open this season. It was open at the end of last season. So, yeah, it does exist though. 9 times in the summer here, they do have an Epcot booth style, on a much smaller scale, spectacular called Summer Night Spectacular, with some food and beverage items to try out. You can get this kind of punch card, if you want to call it that, the passport. For $35, you get 6 samples. Probably not the worst deal at the park. Well, I like beer and I like steak and cheese, so Northern Star it is. I got the Flamin' Hot steak and cheese here. I did not get a beer because here's the tap list. Yep, that's right, 0 beer is on tap. This Flamin' Hot steak and cheese sub, or grinder as they call it, whatever you want to call it. I guess you eat with a fork. Yeah, I tried folding it in half. It's definitely not happening. But it tastes like salt and a little bit of fat and cheese. So on Six Flags scale, it's 8 out of 10 stars. But you know what no beer means? Free water. It's got to be the tiniest cups ever, and it requires you brave the bees to get it, but still worth it. $0 is $0. I'll tell you where we are not eating today. See, the trick to recycling here at the recycling center is to have nowhere to put your recycling. You know what they say, 0 waste. Wow, entertainment. The most themed area you're gonna get at this Six Flags park is this kind of area just past the entrance plaza. It's themed kind of New England wharfy with asphalt. The main strip of games here in their diner theme section is in fact open. They love the 60s diner themes because the ground gets to be themed like asphalt. The Emporium here, you can enter from so many different angles at this park. Let's head on in and check it out. Okay, so we were just in the Looney Tunes Emporium, which features DC and Looney Tunes items, but across the street from one of the 18 entrances is Six Flags Emporium, so I guess we'll check that one out too. Alright, I think the Six Flags Emporium is actually the best themed thing here. It actually is pretty similar to being in a gift shop at a beach town in New England, especially with the type of apparel and just the style. Finishing our day off right here, not with the trash can, with the Dippin' Dots we got here. Cookie dough Dippin' Dots. This is what happens when your friends tell you to get things. Thanks for making me spend money. A lot less money than a beer though. It was $7.99 plus tax for this, whereas a beer is $16.99 plus tax. Good to the last drop. All right, and that's going to do it for our day here at Six Flags New England. This is a fun park. It's about middle of the road as far as the Six Flags parks go. Wicked Cyclone and Superman the Ride are definitely the highlight coasters of the park. Without those, there's really not much to this park that's worth heading to. If you're making a Northeast road trip and you have to choose between this and Great Adventure New Jersey, New Jersey's definitely going to be the choice to go with. But it's definitely a park worth visiting if you're in the area, just not going crazy to make sure you get out here. Crowd-wise, the park was actually busier than most of the Six Flags parks on our trips. That being said, it is the end of August, so people are trying to make their last trips before going back to school. It's a pretty busy time in parks usually. It also wasn't overpacked. I've seen this park busier in past years. Maybe like a 25-minute wait on Wicked Cyclone, something like that. Speaking of waits, the dispatches here were super slow. Operators were taking their time, so you could definitely take your time getting in your seat. You know, get comfy, buckle your seatbelt, trade seats with your buddies, and they still won't be ready to check your restraint. So take your time. Aside from Superman and Riddler's Revenge, the operations teams were fast there. But yeah, despite having 2 trains on pretty much all the coasters, lines weren't moving quick. All right, and with that, we've done it, folks. We visited every Six Flags park in the United States in a year. Actually, a little less than a year. We went to Darien Lake in New York back in November, finishing up at the end of August here, so really about 10 months. We were able to check them all out, explore them. I expect I'll have a video in the future kind of ranking the parks and talking about them, but that'll come down the road, so stay tuned. Thanks so much for coming along with me to all these different Six Flags parks. I know I definitely had a good time, and if you've watched all the videos, great. If you haven't, no problem. Thank you for the ones who did watch. Thanks for tuning in today. And what's going to happen from here? Well, I'll be on plenty more amusement park adventures. Some I'll film, some I won't. Just based off, you know, how it goes, who I'm with, and where the world takes me. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you around. I got incredibly thirsty on the ride home, so I got a water, and let me tell you, this water right here, this water is not free.